I'm Ashley McAlpine, and I'm the Fraud Prevention Manager here at TMG.
I'm Cole Casper. I'm the Product Manager here at TMG.
And thanks for joining us for Fraud Prevention Friday. This week you're joining us for part 2 of our EMV manipulation series. This week we are going to be focused on the ATC delta and the manipulation that can be done with the chip cards. Cole, can you give us a little overview about the ATC delta?
Sure. The ATC delta, or application transaction counter, is essentially a little clicker that counts every time that the chip is powered up. So every time you essentially conduct a transaction, that little clicker clicks over 1. Now, what's kind of interesting, Ashley, in the industry is we're seeing that that little clicker is being activated a little bit more than we anticipated. And it's being reported not just here at TMG, but across the industry. It's been a common theme, especially at the EMV migration forum it was brought up. Now, I think what's kind of interesting in comparison to our other peers is we don't necessarily utilize that ATC counter in our fraud strategies, right?
Right. So essentially, hypothetically, we'd be able to use the ATC delta to see if there's a discrepancy between what's on the card and what's on the system. So if I've done 5 transactions, ideally on the system it would say that I have 5 transactions on my ATC delta. But we're not necessarily seeing those match up. So that's led us to not really utilize this element within our Falcon strategies. However, we are keeping a really close eye on it as the industry is evaluating the ATC delta and the different things that are taking into account as to why those discrepancies are taking place.
Yeah, and ATC isn't the only fraud prevention measure that EMV offers. Really, EMV is centered around the cryptogram response and messaging from both the merchant and the processor on the acquiring side. So ATC is just only a very small portion to a more robust fraud prevention strategy.
Yet we do rely on a number of other elements that enable us to determine if a valid EMV transaction is actually taking place. But we are going to continue to monitor the ATC delta and the values that we're receiving from our merchants and from the card to make sure that everything is lining up. And when we do find that we can rely on the data, we'll definitely put that as a piece within our strategies. All right, well, thank you very much for taking the time with us today. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the Falcon team at falconteam@tmg.global.